DJ Lagway's entire football career comes down to this game, Baylor versus Auburn, week 1.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
DJ Lagway, Daquan Wright, Taz Williams. That's what we're talking about on today's show today. We're going to talk today's show today. Yeah, what Baylor wide receiver needs to step up in the absence of Taz Williams, what Daquan Wright going back to college and LSU continuing to dip into the professional sports pool means for college athletics. But we start where we start, and that is DJ Lagway, week 1 against Auburn. The more that people talk about this, the more it's becoming clear to me and should be becoming clear to you. His whole career hinges on this game. It's all coming up on this episode of Locked On Baylor. Matt Mosley, my good friend and great Baylor talker, has been covering and watching the Bears for decades, says this game against Auburn is the biggest game in the Dave Aranda era. Not bigger than the Sugar Bowl or the Big 12 championship, but in terms of Dave Aranda's job, it doesn't get much more important than this. But here's the thing. If Dave Aranda loses and bottoms out, like, say, Kevin Steele did at Baylor, he can go on to have a long career as a defensive coordinator again, much like Kevin Steele did. But DJ Lagway is the one that interests me here, fascinates me. Got a great review from NFL Scouts last week, but still there are leading analysts in college football who not only don't believe in DJ Lagway, but are basically done with him. And there's a whole faction of college football fan bases that are rooting for him to lose. And this is where I just don't really get it. Danny Kanell went on his podcast and talked about Baylor and taking the under for their 6.5 wins. And look, if you want to take the under, that's fine. Like, I think there's still so much of this Baylor team that we don't know. And if you look at Dave Aranda's tenure, you're not exactly inclined or compelled to say, well, they got Dave Aranda and DJ Lagway. Let's go over, huh? Here's what Danny said about DJ Lagway. Again, this just hours, just a couple of days after the NFL scouts said he's the best arm that they've seen all summer. So here's what Danny Kanell said. I need to get a little bit balanced here, so I need to underplay. I've seen the story happen way too many times where we see a 5-star coming out of high school and he's projected to be all everything and then falls well short of it and gets a second opportunity and everyone gets all excited and then all of a sudden you realize maybe just a 5-star ranking was not correct because maybe that player just struggles to play the sport of football. I hate saying that because it feels kind of mean. Give me Baylor under 6.5 wins for the season. I know Jake Spavital's been there, and he's the quarterback whisperer, but he's going to be asked to throw the football quite a bit, and he's got to figure out the turnover situation. I didn't love some of the things he was saying on the way out from Florida. Don't know what that last part means. I think he's probably talking about what things were said about DJ Lagway on the way out of Florida, not what DJ Lagway was saying, but that's neither here nor there. That leads me again to this Auburn game. Because if DJ Lagway throws 3 touchdowns and throws for 280 yards and no picks, and Baylor beats Auburn, do you think Danny Kanell is saying that? Do you think he's saying, I just don't know if he's got it up there? Even if Auburn is a 5-7 team at the end of the year, do you think they're saying that if he does that against the SEC? Of course he's not. And there's just so much of the college football world that has already written off DJ Lagway and said he's done. They don't care about the injuries. They don't care about the mess that it was at Florida. They just see the interceptions and they say, done, bust. They think he's Tate Martell. They don't think of Connor Wegman. They think of Tate Martell. Or they think of the guy who was the number 3 ranked dual threat quarterback coming out of the same class, where DJ was number 1, Walker White was number 3. They're thinking about him, not Connor Wegman as a comp. And this game in particular, it reminds me of one of my kind of bugaboos about the NFL. This has happened a ton, and it's happening to my team this year, so I don't like it, but I've never really loved it, is the Super Bowl rematch week 1. And when it happens all the time, that team that lost in the Super Bowl then goes and loses the first game against the team that they already lost to in the Super Bowl, and their confidence is completely shot. Now, those guys are making millions and millions, and I guess so are college football players now, especially DJ Lagway, but it shouldn't be the case, but it is the case. DJ has this opportunity, week 1, and I'm calling it an opportunity, not a ghost, not a skeleton in the closet, but an opportunity. Week 1 to go up against an SEC opponent. One that he didn't face, but an SEC opponent, an SEC defense. And he has the opportunity week 1 to go and take it to them and prove a lot of people wrong. Because if he doesn't, if he throws a couple of picks and Baylor loses and he's not that efficient, it all comes back. Just doesn't have it. Doesn't have it between the ears. Bust, overrated, waste of money. Again, even if Auburn's not a good team, and Baylor beats him, we find out later that that's just not a good Auburn team, and they got a ways to go. That doesn't matter. If Baylor beats him, they beat an SEC team, and he beats an SEC defense. And suddenly that legitimizes everything. That's why it all comes down to this game. If to set it even further, to take the hypothetical even further for you. If DJ struggles in this game and then Baylor rattles off 6 wins in a row, what do you think the media is going to focus on? They're going to focus on his performance in 4 games against the Big 12? Or are they going to focus on his performance in the 1 game against the SEC? What do you think? What do you think your friends in the message boards and on Twitter are going to say? Let's be honest now. That's what makes this game so important for everyone involved. But yeah, especially DJ Lagway. It doesn't matter if Auburn's good or not. They have an SEC patch on their uniform. So whatever Baylor does against them is what the national media is going to think of Baylor all year. People like Danny Kanell. That's what they're going to think about them all year, right, wrong, or otherwise. So there, you have it. This is the biggest game that DJ Lagway has played right now. And it could save the reputation of his career. Could save it right there. It could be a hell of a story. I'll also say about Danny Kanell's comments, because, whatever. I don't expect national guys to be like, oh, well, DJ Lagway is actually better than people think. And that was a mess at Florida, and he's working with Jake Spavital, and this could be... I don't expect them to say that. But one thing he does say, again, I don't know what DJ was saying on the way out of Florida. I was covering that pretty much every day. I don't remember anything bad. But Danny Kanell also said he's going to be asked to throw the football quite a bit. I don't know if he's going to be asked to throw the football much more than he did at Florida for a team that was losing a lot. Baylor's got big questions on the offensive line. I've said that a ton. But the interior seems to be a fine spot. And they do have a very talented running back room. And this offense really relies on running the ball quite a bit. And I don't think their defense is going to be nearly as bad as last year, so I don't think they're going to be losing every time they touch the ball like they were last year when Sawyer had to throw the ball 50 times a game. So I also don't think that's correct. And I think DJ, is going to get out of the pocket more. But look, if DJ Lagway stinks, I'm going to come on this podcast and tell you that DJ Lagway stinks. I don't think that's been an issue in the history of Locked On Baylor to talk about when things aren't going well, that things aren't going well. And I might be drinking a bit of the Kool-Aid here because I want it to be correct. But again, taking what everybody's seeing from DJ Lagway and knowing the talent that's in there and taking some stock in the fresh reset button that he gets to hit here, I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. I really do. But it all comes down to this game. So you Auburn fans listening, that's a tip of the cap to you guys. Truly. I haven't been to a bowl since 2020, but there's still a name brand there that if DJ Lagway is successful against Auburn, everyone's going to be eating their words. Let me know what you think. Is he going to be successful against Auburn? Is there any bigger game in his career than this one, week 1? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. When we come back, let's talk about the SEC a little bit more. Let's talk about the program that might just ruin college athletics entirely. And they're doing it right now. We'll do that next on Locked On Baylor. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. You've got like one for accounting, one for inventory, another for sales. You need one spot. That's where Odoo comes in. All-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. Sales and accounting, inventory, marketing, one place. Because that's how great businesses run, okay? You know, like the Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl champions, they are all connected as one. You see that in sports. You see that in business all the time. Great organizations win because operations matter. That's why you should get Odoo. Try for free at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon to get involved with Odoo today. Hey, you guys see this? See this? This is my favorite Baylor shirt that I own. Let me tell you about Poncho. If you're like me and you basically live in game day gear during football season, you're going to want to check out Poncho's new game day collection and get a banger shirt like this. It's one of those things where it is a performance shirt, but it doesn't look like it. It actually looks pretty nice, clean, sharp, like something you'd actually want to wear all day long. Plus, you get to rep Baylor in style. And the best part is it's built for real life. Super lightweight, breathable, comfortable enough. You can throw it on for a full day of tailgating, sitting in the stadium, or just hanging out watching the game with your friends without ever feeling like you need to change. 90-degree day at a 2:30 kickoff in September. This is the one. November, a little 65 degrees, nice and cool. This is the one. And what I really like is you're not stuck with one-size-fits-all situations. Nuh-uh. You could dial it in with the regular, slim, tall fit, short sleeve, or long sleeve. And if you grab your team shirt between August 2nd and August 16th, you're covered by Poncho's Natty Back Guarantee. If your team, the Baylor Bears, wins the College Football Playoff National Championship, Poncho will give you a full refund on your purchase to keep the shirt. I absolutely love this thing. I've been living in it since I got it a couple weeks ago. I love the magnet pockets as well. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/lockedon and enter your email to get $10 off and free shipping on your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/lockedon, all caps, all one word. Head there, drop in your email, get $10 off and free shipping. And once you try one, you'll get why I've got a closet full of them now. Poncho Outdoors. Do it today. Daquan Wright. Does that name mean anything to you? If you're a college sports fan, it's about to mean a lot to you because he is going to be an LSU Tiger this year. Earlier this month, he was a Cleveland Brown. This is what we've opened it up to. This is what the NCAA has allowed to happen. The LSU Tigers go out and get Daquan Wright right after cutdown day and say, you want to come back? Come back to college. We loved you when you were at Ole Miss, a tight end playing for me, Lane Kiffin. That's Lane Kiffin talking. He also got a commitment from Xavier Harris, who also used to play at Ole Miss, confirmed on Instagram yesterday, Monday, that he made a business decision to head to Baton Rouge and commit to LSU after he was waived by the New Orleans Saints. What are we doing? I said this with basketball when Baylor was doing it. I'm saying it in football when LSU is doing it. What the F are we doing? Burt Breer, who loves the smell of his own farts, wrote a great piece, actually, about blaming Mark Emmert for this. The NCAA, former president Mark Emmert of the NCAA, they could have gotten ahead of this decades ago. The paying players, getting a connection with the players, actually figuring out what this was going to be. Instead, they just let it run its course, the old way, the old bag method, let it run its course and go all the way up to 2021 and then said, all right, we'll figure it out. And now there are reports that LSU could have up to six players who were cut from NFL teams come back and play in Baton Rouge. That's 6 guys who have been busting their ass all offseason and in 100-degree weather in Louisiana in the summer that are going to get their walking papers. Be told to get out of here. Kindly go play intramural football or unenroll and go somewhere else. We've got an NFL guy we're bringing in. Like, if you feel bad for Lenny on the Simpsons softball team when Jose Canseco comes in and takes his job, then you have to feel bad for these guys. If you think, like me, if you think Deion Sanders is a D-bag for telling guys straight as he gets there that they need to leave because they're not good enough to play, then you got to think that Lane Kiffin is a D-bag, I know, big stretch there, for coming in and bringing NFL players and replacing these guys who have been busting their butts all off season long. That's what college sports is in 2026. That's what it is. And this happens to be in the realm of the class of 2022 ruling, which, again, the NCAA cannot get the framing right because that was not for players like Daquan Wright. That was for players like Baylor basketball player Caden Powell, who was not playing basketball anymore, who was going into the real world. And then this new rule comes into play that says, hey, actually, you can play. You're not doing anything this summer? Why don't you come on back? It was not for guys who had gone on to the next level and want to come back and play college football. When I was about to flunk out of Baylor my freshman year, I couldn't just go back to high school. That's not how this works. And someone put it out there on Twitter, and I wish I saved the tweet because I don't know if it was a burner or a reporter or what. I'd love to give some credit here. But someone had on Twitter, it was a great point. They said, if you have taken a headshot in an NFL or an NBA uniform, if you have reported or signed any kind of contract to go play in the summer league, to go to minicamp, whatever it is, if you have a headshot with an NFL jersey on, you cannot come back and play college football. That seemed very reasonable up until this year. Now, you're a boomer if you think that. Like, seriously. Can we please set a limit? Please. This is awful for college sports. It's awful. We've already killed off the walk-on, and now the guys who are just sacrificing and with their teammates in the trenches day in, day out in the 100-degree heat, they get told 2 weeks, a week before the season, hey, we're actually going to bring in an NFL tight end. Sorry. So free up your schedule a little bit, but you're not playing for us anymore. And that is what has to happen. They have to call them into their office and say, please leave. And if I'm taking a guess, I don't think it's Lane Kiffin calling the players in. It's probably Lane Kiffin putting it off on an assistant or a GA who's making $35,000 a year and having them tell the player they've been coaching and working with that you don't have a spot anymore. It didn't have to be this way. It did not have to be this way. There is a world where you can pay players or not make them ineligible because someone in front of them in line paid for their Taco Bell and not have this. There are ways you can do that. But if we know the NCAA like we know the NCAA, that's not going to happen. That's why people are not loving college sports the way they used to. I've been pretty vocal about that. I am in that boat. I am losing interest in general college sports. I love Baylor. I love doing this show. I love following Baylor football. That's because I have a deep connection to it. keeping up with all this crap, it sucks, man. It sucks that this is what the sport is. So at this time next year, on cut down day in the NFL, are coaches just going to be waiting to fill their holes? Pause. Holes on the roster with the guys who get cut from NFL rosters? What are we doing here? I think the NFL now has to have a vested interest in this. While it may seem pretty small potatoes to us, NFL coaches and GMs, they care about practice squads. They care about the level of player that they can call up from the practice squad in the middle of the season. Because right now, that quality of player is dipping. Those players are going back to play in college football. It sucks. It sucks. And yeah, am I getting a little Norman Rockwell here? But like college football and college sports in general is more about the Rudies than it is about the Tim Tebows. We remember the Tim Tebows. And once in a million years, Rudy gets a movie. But it's about those guys who are actually getting a shot at being a part of something special, getting a great education, and getting unbelievable experiences in their lives because of the dedication they put to their craft and in their sport. We're telling those guys to get lost so that someone who has already gotten that, who's already at the next level, can come down and dominate college football again. Sue me. I think that sucks. I think that sucks. And I don't think it should be hard. If you've gone to the next level, you're done. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. By the way, LSU is doing this in football and in basketball. They're the only school that's done it in both so far. So, yeah, forgive me if I'm putting a little bit more onus on LSU right now. They're doing this. But Baylor has its part in it, too, with the James Najee debacle. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like and subscribe. When we come back, we're going to talk about Baylor football players who have been in the system for a couple of years and who needs to step up after a key injury. That is coming up next on Locked On Baylor. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I got a question. Baseball fans, you know who's going to hit a homer today? Looking at you, Shea Bangaliers. FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot. Yad God! With Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is a fun way to stay engaged with every day's game, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Ohtani plays tonight. He usually hits homers. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Bringing it back, tough news for Baylor on the injury front. Pass catcher's not been great. Tony Livingston, obviously. Now Taz Williams Jr. Dave Aranda announced over the weekend that he's going to be out a while. Broke his collarbone in practice, kind of a freak injury. Now the arm in the sling is going to be out for, I don't know, probably half the season. I'm not a doctor. This is two tough injuries for Taz Williams. Every injury is tough. But in his senior year, blew out his ACL. Now we're just hoping to see Taz on the field sometime soon. You know, highly recruited player out of Red Oak. A guy who spurned Michigan at the final turn and shockingly picked Baylor. Remember that day very well in July of 2024. Hoping to see him on the field. Okay, I'm excited about Taz. What I do wonder about is I made this prediction earlier in the summer that there was going to be a guy who was really going to break onto the scene as a Baylor wide receiver, a guy who had been on the team the last couple of years. Now, there were plenty of candidates for that because they've had a lot of young promising receivers come in the last couple recruiting cycles that haven't really gotten a shot yet. Not a huge shot. Some of these guys have played. But now, with Taz Williams out, who is that receiver going to be? We already know Gavin Freeman's going to be out there. Lewis Brown IV is going to be out there. Traylon Miller's going to be out there. But who is that guy who has been on the Baylor sidelines before and has been waiting for his shot? London Smith, waiting for his shot. True freshman. Love what we heard about him in spring practice, right? Could be him. Could be Ashton Jones, maybe. This guy who's, I believe, a redshirt freshman. Micah Gifford? Going to go back to receiver? Probably not. My guess is going to be the guy who we actually saw the most of out of those guys last season. And that was Jaden Porter. The Lorena, Texas product. Local legend, if you will. He's the only guy we've actually seen in this offense. And he's the guy that Dave Aranda has raved about at times the last 2 seasons. And Jaden Porter, this could well be, nobody wants their teammates getting hurt. I'm not saying that. This could be the break, no pun intended, that Jaden Porter was looking for. This is his 3rd year on campus. He needed to, kind of beef up his first year. He's playing, 3A at Lorena to then come to, the Power 4 in the Big 12 was a big step up. But he got some run last year. He got 9 catches last year. He's played some special teams for Baylor. That means something. Porter's a guy I am really, really interested in because I think his build and his play style is very similar to Taz Williams Jr. So if Taz was going to see the field this year and be a big part of this Baylor offense, big part, whatever, then my thoughts are Jaden Porter might be that guy as well. And when you talk about Porter and Jones and Taz and London Smith to a lesser extent, Micah Gifford to a lesser extent because he's probably going to stay on defense, special teams, you need to wonder how long these guys take it. How long these guys sit here and be a part of the process rather than going into the portal and seeing whether they can get some real reps at North Texas or Texas State or Sam Houston or whatever it may be. You're not playing the waiting game very long in 2026's college football, in the transfer portal era. And I just wonder how upset the apple cart may be if those catches that Taz Williams was going to get don't go to Jaden Porter or London Smith or Ashton Jones. But let me know who you think is going to step up. Because there's actual exciting players here. Let me know who you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys making it your first listen today and every day. We've got a Wicker Wednesday coming up tomorrow. We will see you then on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.